Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Tafflo. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to mix and master in FL Studio. Alright, how to actually achieve professional vocals in FL Studio when mixing. Okay, alright, so without further ado, I'm going to play you guys this track and have a listen to this track as a whole. I recorded, mixed, mastered everything in FL Studio 20. Also created the beats here in FL Studio 2025 actually. Alright, without further ado, let me play from the intro, then after you're going to hear bits and parts of the beat and the vocals itself.
Cause you been on your grind, every single day you done rise and shine. You done twitting the time, and I remember days when I was deep in the grind, deep in the grind. So this time I fly to a new destination, so I'm on my way. Thinking Heavenly Father for leading my way. My trust in you, so have your catch. It's time for you to shine. Catch it.
All right. That's the track there, and as you can hear it actually sounds amazing. It sounds like it's very glued, professional, and very nice sounding. All right, so if we look at the mixer track, let's go to the mixer rack here. We see that all these inserts here are for the beat, and I've routed the beat into something called the beat bus or the musical master bus. All right, but today we're going to be focusing on the vocal side of things. If you guys want a tutorial on the music side, how I make beats and how I go about actually arranging and mixing the beat side, leave a comment in the comments below. All right, now focus on the vocal side of things. Okay, you can see the vocal side of things. There's not a lot going on, and not a lot going on. There is a lot going on, but there's not a lot in what you may expect. And if we close the mixer rack, this is the vocals. This is how like the arrangement of how everything is like. You see, with the hook here, the first one, hook again, verse 2, and hook and outro. All right. That's the playlist itself, but we're going to focus on the mixer side of things. So let's say, for example, you've already recorded your song and you've already got everything going, but you want to now go to the mixing, proceed forward to the mixing side of things and how to actually get your vocals sounding very nice. First things first, of course, you're going to have your vocals, whether you have your lead vocals and your background vocals, your ad-libs and whatnot, you want to kind of root them. And I'll do a specific video on how I go about rooting and making sure that I've got a nice way that I organize the layers of my vocals. So as you can see, I got the background vocal lead, background vocal 2. I got the lead vocal, which is the lead vocal take, and I also got the lead vocal 2 because the reason why I got the lead vocal 2 because I used autotune on this. I wanted to have 2 channels because some vocals overlap, or there's some phrases where it overlaps, so I don't want to have one channel only, so I have an extra one, and I call it lead vocal 1, lead vocal 2, and I route the lead vocal 1, lead vocal 2, you can see here, into something called the lead vocal bus. That lead vocal bus is basically the house of the lead vocals. So all right, and I've got the vocal dubs, which has its own channel here. You see vocal dubs, the background vocals, or the dubs of some people call them the stabs of here. So anyway, solo the vocals itself, and then have a listen to how these sound like, okay, without the beat. Right. I'm also gonna mute the delay and reverb for the time being, so it's just the vocals, how it sounds like when it's as mixed, mastered, polished.
Yeah, it's time for you to shine, cause you've been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. You done twitting the time, and I remember days when I was deep in the grind, deep in the grind. So this time I fly.
I'm gonna also mute the background vocal, so you can actually hear how the lead vocals sound like. Listen.
Yeah, it's time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. Cause you done twitting the time, and I remember days when I was deep in the grind.
Alright, you can see, so how did we achieve that? Let's go straight to the point. How did we achieve those vocals? This is how the vocals sound like without any effects, so you can actually have a listen to how it sounds like without any effects. I'm just going to focus on the lead vocal and the vocal dubs for the time being. I'm going to mute the stutter bus also. Listen.
Yeah, it's time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. Cause you done twitting the time, and I remember days when I was deep in the grind.
That's with no effects, no autotune, and no nothing, okay? I've got the master bus enabled. This is the mastering plugin that I used, and it essentially just has a limiter so that you can hear the vocals much more loudly, because essentially when they're recorded, they're quite quiet. Anyway, so the lead vocal, the essential thing that I add when it comes to mixing and mastering or mixing vocals to get that professional sound: compression, autotune. Well, depending on whether your vocals need autotune, but in this instance I used the plugin Picture, and EQ. Okay, so if we listen to the lead vocal one,
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day. Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah.
The first thing I added here was compression, and this is the compression. This is the settings I use here. I kind of compressed it. I kind of just go by ear and what sounds good. So you can see this is how it sounds like. Let's mute everything, disable all the effects on here, and just listen to the vocals now, the lead vocal.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine.
Alright, now when we introduce the compressor, this is how it sounds like.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine.
So essentially I compressed it a bit and of course just increase the gain. Alright, so you want to compress and then increase the gain to of course match the levels of what you're trying to achieve. The next thing I added was EQ, or not EQ, auto-tune pitcher. This one.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine.
Then I added this other EQ here, which essentially is I'm cutting out the lows.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine.
That's the standard that I'm using, the basic standard. And after that, I did that, I duplicated that also for the lead vocal too. And then of course the vocal dubs, have a listen to the vocal dubs, soloed.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day.
Same process, EQ compression, compressed it, just go by how you feel like it. Just play around with the knobs, you'd be surprised. But make sure the threshold is quite low enough so that the compression actually engages. Then the ratio, set it to, I like using a fruit compressor because it's simple and it's a stock plugin. It achieves the results I want to achieve. And of course, just use the gain to match it to how you want to sound like. Then for the vocal dubs, I added this CLA 76, which I compressed it even more.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind.
So let's see how it sounds like now with these effects added one by one. So with the filter compressor.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on.
Without the filter compressor.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your.
Then with the filter compressor.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done right.
Just subtle compression, just like, made the gain higher up. Auto-tune.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single.
Then of course the fruity EQ.
Time for you to shine.
Metric EQ2. And this one here, I just essentially just kind of wanted to make space for the lead vocals. So that's why I mixed it like this. So I EQ'd like this.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day.
And then I added this CLA 76, which compressed it even more.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. You done put in the time. And I remember days when I was deep in the grind, deep in the grind. So this time I fly.
And then I added this Ozone Imager 2, which essentially widens the vocals.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. Can't you tell it's time for you to shine? Can't you?
And then that, with the lead vocals itself, sounds like this.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your. Time for you to shine.
With the lead vocals.
Time for you to shine, cause. Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine.
And then on the lead vocal itself, I had the lead vocal bus, right? So on the lead vocal bus itself, I had this. I added extra compression, or extra EQ first, then I added extra compression. So essentially, this is the type of EQ I did. I kind of, the low mids are kind of like attenuated some of the frequencies here, especially here.
Time for you to shine.
So let's play the lead vocals without these other effects, but just the EQ. Without the EQ first.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah.
With the EQ.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind.
Just attenuating this. When I mean attenuating, I just kind of reduce some of the frequencies there. And then this other EQ, or this other compression, the CLA, I use this one. It gives it that kind of smacky, kind of hard, snappy type of compression sound. And I think it works well with the type of vocals and also with the beat as well. So have a listen.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. Cause you done put in the time. And I remember days when I was deep in the grind, deep in the grind. So this time I fly.
This one is not compressing as hard as, let's say, the vocal dubs. Vocal dubs, the background vocals, I want them to be compressed even harder, so that way it actually creates space for the lead vocals. And this one just like compression-ish, but it's also given that kind of, you know, that type of. Anyway, the next thing was the EQ. EQ6 for the lead vocals. Oops.
Time for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you done rise and shine. Cause you done put in the time.
And I EQ'd again, and just kind of some frequencies that I didn't want there, I kind of removed them and attenuated them. I usually just go about cutting before boosting, and that really tends to help. Then all that rooted into the vocal bus, and that's the way the main magic is occurring. The starter bus, also the same thing, filter compressor, EQ, and then reverb. And the starters go like this. Let's have a listen to where the starters are at here. And throughout the whole track, you can hear just a few actually. So I had 1, 2, 3. So it goes like this. Let's play it. It pans left and right, so it goes.
Yeah, it's time for you to shine.
Alright, if you guys want a tutorial on how I do stutters, leave a comment in the comments below. All right, next thing is the vocal bus. The vocal bus is where the main magic happens. And of course, the background vocals are all similar as well. Same process. When I say same process, compression, auto-tune, and then EQ. And then I did the filter type of EQ here for some of the background vocals, especially for this background vocal here. Listen. Actually, for this one especially. I think it was this one. And it adds just that ambience, you know, it adds that ambience. And of course, all the background vocals combined, it sounds like this. All right, so that's there. The vocal bus now, where the main magic happens, right? This is the vocal bus. The first thing I added, of course, let's actually hear it one by one with each effects. One by one. So we're going to do this. We're going to mute everything or disable everything, then have a listen to the whole vocals. And this time we're going to play it with the beat, okay? So that you can actually hear it in context. And we'll enable also the reverb and delay also.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't rise and shine. You done put in the time. And I remember days when I was deep in the grind, deep in the grind. So this time I fly.
So you can hear that even, let's say with the beat there already, you can hear that things are already sounding quite well and nice. Now, one by one, we're going to enable these effects. You're going to see how it sounds like when we added all these effects. You can see by adding all these effects on the lead vocal bus, lead vocal, and the vocal dubs and the stutters and whatnot, and the background vocals, it sounds good. Now, one by one, we're going to add these.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't rise and shine. You done put in the time. And I remember days when I was deep in the grind,
Let's mute the beat again so that you can actually hear it properly.
I for you to shine,
so without this one,
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't rise and shine. You don't stand back up and I start. I for you to shine, cause
so with this API 2500,
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind.
Just some subtle compression also. For the vocal bus, I kind of want it to be, when I add effects on the vocal bus, I want it to be kind of acting as glue. So this is how it basically works.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't rise and shine. You done put in the time.
Especially catching those peaks there. Then I added this other EQ, which is the parametric EQ2. You know, added this, and it sounds like this with it.
I for you to shine, cause you been
without.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind.
With it.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't rise and shine.
Just subtle. I just dipped some of the low frequencies, and especially around the mids as well. And if carve out clarity and to make it smooth. And then I added this de-esser, this waves de-esser without it.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind.
With it.
I for you to shine, cause you been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't rise and shine.
Essentially just catching those S's and the sibilants, on all that type of stuff. Then I added the RVox, more compression.
I for you to
without
I for you to shine.
Let's play a different part of the song.
Congratulations, you my trust in you, so have your Can't you tell it's time for you to shine? Can't you tell the song is just a sign for you, for you, for you. Congratulations, you did it by yourself. You done it.
That's the compression. Then it just kind of compressing it even more. And then when I compress it more after, I compressed it more because I added the de-esser and I added the EQ and the other compression also. So I wanted to kind of smooth things out even more. And then I added this EQ once again, and then I kind of boosted some of those frequencies there.
My trust in you, so have your Can't you tell it's time?
I used a different EQ because I wanted to kind of get that different flavor, and different EQ sounds different, or most EQs sound different. They have their own type of flavor, I guess, in a way. So I kind of boosted this kind of because I de-essed it. I wanted to kind of also get that air clarity, the high side kind of back a little bit, but just a little bit. And then after I just did this, boosted a little bit there, attenuated here, and then just kind of kept it the same mid-range here. And then I added another EQ, which is this. So similar sort of thing, but I wanted to use the parametric EQ2 because it kind of provided a different sound. Then I added this filter compressor as the final one, just mainly using it for the gain. If anything, I mainly use it for the gain, then of course to compress it a little bit. Maybe play with the attack and release based on how it sounds like. And then I added this final EQ, which is the EQ6, and that of course just kind of like, sometimes you may be noticing, okay, I'm boosting, then I'm also using another EQ to also cut. The reason why, because most of the time the different plugins, they have different sounds and different ways that they go about actually, you know, being, they have different sounds essentially. So that's why I added those. And then essentially that's the vocal bus. And then with the reverb and delay, just added through to reverb and through to delay, or not through to delay, H delay from waves. And then that's how I kind of got this track mixed this type of way. And of course with the beat, everything sounds like this.
My trust in you, so have your oil and over again. When I fall, stand back up and I start again with you. I feel the heat of your light shining through. I see the waves of your glory coming through. Ooh, everything you say comes true. Ooh, yeah, it's time for you to shine, 'cause you've been on your grind, yeah. Every single day you don't mind.
And that's the video in a nutshell, and that's how I kind of got this track, especially sounding professional and sounding very clear and very nice, you know. And of course, it didn't just begin at, let's say, the mix and the master, or at least the mixing side of things. It began from the very first moment when I actually created the beat and decided, I want this type of beat, I want this type of melody, I want this, because everything kind of plays in to the outcome of this. And yeah, if you guys want a tutorial on how I actually even made this beat and how I just make beats in general, leave a comment in the comments below. I also do studio sessions. If you want to actually watch my full entire studio sessions, check out studio sessions playlist, link also in the description. And yeah, I'm going to be teaching you guys how I mix and master from scratch, and watch my videos and you can learn a thing or two. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. It's been your boy Tafflo. Peace out.